First, user, please do figure out how to use the chat window and do use it, because if we don't get your suggestions, we can't go on with the show. Because if we make up stuff based on our own ideas, you think we're not improvising. So we need you to put the ideas in, and we need to put in, to react to those things. So the way it works is that each one of these scenes that we do is going to have a format that we'll explain to you, and then we'll ask you for suggestions, and you type those suggestions immediately into the chat window. And as soon as we get enough of them, we will take those suggestions and we will go straight into the game. Now, are we clear with all that? We're going to start off with a game that we call News Round. The way that this works is we're going to thank you. We're going to do a sort of a news program. This news program is going to be based on today's headlines, but I've left out some bits of the headlines, and I'm going to ask you to fill in the blanks. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask you for a suggestion. I am going to read you headlines from today's newspapers, and I want you to fill in the blanks by typing anything into the chat window. So the first one is Irish Water and Cork City Council encourage people to blank. So I want you to write a response to that, please. Amazing, amazing. I have no idea. That's a good one. Yes, very good. Yep, that's good. Okay, we have enough. We have enough. Thank you. That's excellent. Perfect. I've got a second one for you now, so get ready for this one. Blank kills 9 cows in Clare. Blank kills 9 cows in Clare. These are actual newspaper headlines, but I'd like you to fill in the blanks with something completely new and different. Excellent. Okay. That's very good. That's all I need. Thank you. Great suggestions. I've got one more for you. In the lifestyle/human interest category. So get ready for this. Confronting a blank in Dublin was scary but worth it. Confronting a blank in Dublin was scary but worth it. So fill in the blanks in that statement, please. Oh, very good. Right, I think I have enough. The only thing that can possibly, that's fantastic. Those are all great suggestions. The only thing that can possibly go wrong with this is if I accidentally pick suggestions that all came from the one person. And it looks like I haven't, so that's okay, because that would also look like cheating. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is News Round. Good evening and welcome to News Round. Tonight's headlines: Irish Water and Cork City Council encourage people to drink their own wee. Vegan kills 9 cows in Clare. And confronting a pizza rat in Dublin was scary, but worth it. But first, Irish Water and Cork City Council are encouraging people to drink their own wee. Joining us now is a representative of Cork City Council. He is TD Mick O'Mahony. Mick, how are you doing? Thank you very much for joining us.
No problem. Glad to be here. Glad to be here. Yeah, yeah.
Surely this is going too far, even for Irish Water. We know they're a bunch of langers, as the expression goes, but to make the public drink their own urine, I mean, what's the thinking behind this?
Well, you see, I'm not sure if you're aware of this now or not, but there's going to be a hosepipe ban coming in now again soon. It is already in even. So we're looking at ways of curtailing actual drinking water and other water, and one of the best drinking water sources you could get actually is your own urine.
But is it not poisonous? Isn't it bad for you to drink your own urine, surely?
But, well, the data would show that it's actually quite good for you. It is high in calcium, it is high in nitrogen oxide and sulfur and all that kind of stuff. There's been nothing to indicate the negative effects.
Do you come from a farming background, Mick?
I have a small farm, all right, down in West Cork, about 6,000 cows.
Do you think that maybe some of your experience is based on the animal kingdom rather than human beings?
Well, Christ, I don't. It's all right if you were to go. It's all right. They'd be peeing into little bottles and they'd be carrying it around them then later on in the evening, especially in the hot weather, like the last couple of years now, due to global warming, etc., etc. They have to carry it around them, and the goats, they've big coats in them, and they love it. They bring it around now in 3-litre bottles. There's nothing wrong with them. Nothing wrong with them.
The goats are bringing their own urine around in plastic bottles and drinking it.
You haven't seen it?
No, I haven't.
Oh, Jesus. That's the going thing now the last 5 years with all the heat and the sunshine. Sure, the last couple of summers have been roasting.
Are you planning on making money out of this by selling urine to people to drink?
Well, not for the foreseeable future, but if global warming keeps going the way it's going, we'll have to sort out something, all right, because...
Very good, Mick. We look forward to drinking your yellow water. Thank you very much for joining us.
Take care.
In other news, a vegan has killed 9 cows in Clare. Very controversial. She's going to be taken away to court tomorrow. But first of all, we've managed to catch up with her in an exclusive. Samantha Hat joins us now. Samantha Hat, thank you very much. Killing cows, sure.
I know.
This is a bit radical. Why would you do such a thing?
I just want to say I kind of got it all wrong. I became a vegan and I didn't know actually what it entailed. I didn't know that you weren't allowed to eat meat or that, you know, all that kind of thing. So I kind of went down that path not knowing what I was doing. And I got really into it, but I got into it in the wrong way. And I sort of reversed everything. And I thought it was like, kill, slaughter, eat, you know, as much meat as you can. And, you know, so I'm being put in prison and it's all a big misunderstanding.
It's a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
Are you telling me that you thought the definition of vegan was to kill and eat as many animals as you can?
That's right, and stay away from all, you know, veg and all that kind of thing. I suppose, look, hands up, I didn't do my research. Everyone was being a vegan. I didn't know what it meant, and I said, look, sure, I'll give it a go. I got my knife sharpened. Out I went. It was easy to kill the cows. There was no bother. Like, they were friendly enough, and I went up and out and killed them and skinned them. And sure, while I was at it, I said I'd do 9 because I could give one to everybody, you know, that was around me. And before I knew it, I was being arrested. You know?
Obviously, this was working out very well for you. Were you enjoying it up to the point that you were arrested? How did you feel about eating that much raw red meat?
Well, I mean, I was only starting to eat it, really. I just killed the cows first, and I was taking my first few bites. And you know what was actually really tasty now? I could have done with a bit of salt and pepper. Do you know what I mean? But I mean, I could recommend it, like. And you know, there's cows everywhere. So if anybody who wants to have a cow, you know, to eat an animal just dead, freshly dead, I mean, you couldn't beat it.
Of course. So you recommend to people then that they go out and slaughter their own cows?
Listen to me, do you see the amount of cows that are around the place? There's cows wherever you go. You drive out the road, there's cows. Go out, get out of your car, into the field, take a knife with you, whatever. You can use whatever you want. I'm not saying it has to be a knife. You can just get a gun or whatever, like whatever they use to kill
a brick,
cows.
Maybe?
What? A brick?
A brick?
Oh, with a brick now would be a bit hard. You'd have to be baiting and baiting and baiting with a brick. I don't know about the brick now. You'd have to take a bit of practice. You can practice that at home with the brick before you go out, like in the public.
Sorry, I suppose in future I'll just have to leave it to the experts. Samantha, thank you very much for joining us.
Wish me luck tomorrow in court, will ya?
Good
I'll do my best.
We'll all pray for you. I'm sure it makes all the difference. Thank you and good night. And finally tonight, ladies and gentlemen, confronting a pizza rat in Dublin was scary but worth it. With us now is a mature student who travelled all the way to Dublin to go to college from the country, but was shocked by what he found. His name is Henry, and he joins us now on the line. Henry, how are you feeling after your ordeal?
I feel alive. I do. I feel alive. I think it's been a great experience because I came to Dublin and I was scared because it was the big smoke, and I thought that it was kill or be killed, and I killed. I took him down. I did.
You did? Tell us exactly about the experience, because we're a bit hazy on the details. The rat was after your pizza, or was it a rat shaped like a pizza, or what?
No. The pizza. The rat had the pizza, and I'd been hungry for a few days because the money hadn't come through for my folks. So I was looking around, seeing, what will I do, and I saw the rat and I saw the pizza box, and I said, "How's it going there, fella? Can you have a bit of pizza?" And he bared his teeth at me. He bared his teeth. So I said, "I'm not taking this from any Dublin rat now." So I took him out.
What you're saying is you mugged an innocent rat and stole his pizza.
I did not mug the rat. The rat was asking for it. The rat, how could the rat have paid for that pizza? Huh? Tell me that. See, the rat couldn't have paid for it either. So I'm mugging a mugger? That makes no sense. No.
Fair enough. What kind of pizza was it?
It was probably pepperoni, but the rat had eaten the pepperoni off, so it was just a margarita at that point.
All right, that's fair enough. So did you leave the rat dead, or did you leave it alive, or what?
No. You see, the thing is, if I killed the rat now, there'd be no lesson learned. The lesson is, don't mess with people from the country. So I had to let the rat, I just took one of his legs, so now it's three-legged rats. If you see a three-legged rat around Dublin, that's the fella now, and he'll stay away from you now because I've set him straight.
Very good. Thank you very much for joining us, Henry. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I think we have certainly learned. The lesson is, don't fuck with people from the country. We'll see you next week on News Round. Thank you. Good night. And that's the end of the scene. Thank you very much.
We have to give our own applause.
Thank you. We have to applause and bow for ourselves. That was fun. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. That is kind of a game of our own formation, really. It's a little bit based on other games, but we kind of shaped it into our own. I suppose we kind of got a lot of it from Dublin Comedy Improv, really, to be honest. Our next game tonight is Spotlight. Thank you very much, Jed. Jed, why, Jed, you sound like you're from South Carolina. My kind of guy. Did you vote for the Bush family? Because I sure did. It's good to have somebody in the States listening in. Our next game is called Spotlight. This is similar to a game that we play on stage called Die, 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 where we tell a story, but this time we're going to use the Spotlight feature on Zoom as our sort of directorial magic wand. So Mark is going to be in charge of it, but he's also going to be included in this game. The way it works is that every time the Zoom Spotlight changes to a different one of us, we have to start talking and keep talking. So we're going to be telling a story tonight, and I want you, the audience, to suggest what the title of tonight's story is going to be. It should be something that does not already exist, and also, please, not a sequel to something that already exists, like, Titanic 2 or Little Women Who Are Now Grown Up, but something completely different, like Mushrooms in the Brain or something like that. That's an interesting one. Yeah, Diabetic Panda. I like that. Paint Drying 5. Oh my God. Okay. I did say not a sequel, but I've seen Paint Drying 1, 2, 3, and 4, and they are stunning. They are just absolutely amazing. I'm going to go with Diabetic Panda. So this story is going to be called Diabetic Panda. Every time the spotlight changes to one or other of us, we have to become the storyteller. Whoever gets spotlight first has to take it away.
Tony had been working in the zoo for the last 30 years. He absolutely loved his job. In fact, he lived there. That's how much he loved it. He'd be up at the crack of dawn every morning, going out, looking after all the animals. But one day he noticed that the pandas were acting strangely. They were all around this one panda, Martha. And they were jumping around and crying out and
making funny noises as if something was wrong with Martha. And Martha was kind of hunched over and just didn't look very well. Like she'd been out on drinking the night before or something.
And Tony looked closely through his binoculars and he could see that she was lying on her back and she had a bar of chocolate in one of her paws. And he was like, oh my God, she's overdosed on
chocolate. Pandas can't eat chocolate. So he began to look around the whole cage and all he could see was wrappers and packets of dolly mixtures and
packets of dib dabs, because everyone knows fucking pandas are mad for dib dabs. He went over and she was barely breathing. Martha was looking up at him, big googly eyes on her going,
help me. And Tony was like, I will. I'll get you a shot of insulin. That'll help you. That'll sort you out. Are you
okay? And all the other pandas went, is she okay? She's diabetic and you haven't got her medicine. Are you insane? Tony was like, I'm so glad these pandas can talk. It makes all this a lot easier. And he ran
up to the pharmacy and actually asked the pharmacist, listen, Martha above, you know, the fucking panda there, she's after having an overload of sugar and she needs special shots of insulin.
And the chemist said, sorry, I sold my last shot of insulin about 5 minutes ago and I don't have any, so I don't know what you're going to do, but you can't.
Oh, what you going to do? What? Who'd you sell it to? Oh, I sold it to an old lady down the road. Do you have her address? Oh, and off Tony got the address and went to the old lady down the road who was buying like a year's supply of insulin and said, you know, can I please have
some of that insulin? I just need a couple of shots. And she said, I need it more than you do. And he said, I work in the zoo. It's for the pandas. And
she said, listen, go on away. I've enough of you young fellas going around trying to rob insulin off people. But with that, she turned the key on the door and Tony pushed her in the front door and
took the insulin right out of her hands and she collapsed, screaming and wailing, help me.
I'm having a sugar low myself. Please give me some insulin, will you, just into that bin.
And Tony took a moment, gave her the insulin, then ran off with the rest of it and ran straight into the zoo, into the cage.
Where Martha was lying on the ground, gasping for breath and looking very pale under her fur. He jumped in
and took out a big syringe and stuck it in her arm. I think that's where it goes anyway. And shot in the insulin. Martha's eyes dilated open. She was delighted with the bit of insulin.
She was so happy that she opened a bag of dolly mixture again and started eating the whole pack.
And Tony went, Martha, you stupid fool, you're diabetic, stop eating all that sugar. And Martha went, oh, sorry, Tony, I've learned my lesson. I'll never do it again. Who can we blame? And then Martha said, Tony, please, will you just take all the other people away from me? I want to be alone. I need to be alone to try and get the sugar out of my system.
Sugar out of my veins, and they keep eating it around me. I keep wanting more. So if you just let me alone, put me in solitary for a while, I'll be okay, and everything will go back
to the way it was. And Tony said, that's okay. There's an old lady down the road that I've got to go and kill. The end. That's the end of the story, ladies and gentlemen. Yay! Forgot about the bell in the last round. Thank you.
Poor lady.
Poor lady, I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that.
I know, I agree.
It was Snapper. She's doing him a favor. So, ladies and gentlemen, the next game is Expert Slides. I'm in this one, so I can't really be the one who explains it to you and gets the suggestion. I'm going to have to let... So, you don't...
Sorry,
none of us do. None of us
violence.
do.
Well,
in the name of pandas.
The next one.
So for this game, we're going to need a subject that Adrian will be talking about. So he's going to be an expert in something. It was anything at all, and he'll have to incorporate this random slides into whatever he's talking about. And now we're on, okay, bus time. Ooh.
Very good.
Yeah, I think bus times has it. Okay, so.
By a nose.
By a nose. Okay, so we're now going to hear an expert talking about bus times.
Back in my day now, there used to be a bus that used to come around once every 2 weeks. And if you missed it, then you were stuck in the valley for another 2 weeks and you weren't allowed to leave. 'Twas only when they formed the Free State that they brought in this business of regular buses coming around every 4 minutes or every 10 minutes or whatever it is. And I think this is all ridiculous, and we should go back to the old ways, because it gave people a sense of discipline when there was only one bus every 2 weeks. And you could see now, in the future, after the nuclear war happens, when we're all walking around in gas masks and dying from mustard gas poisoning, the flowers will bloom again. And we'll all be walking around and we'll be saying, where's the next bus? And there won't be one. You see, we're becoming over-reliant. And I remember the war. I remember the first war and the second war. And in the future, Jesus, we're all going to go off a cliff. This is going to be the end, I tell you. This is my house now. This is exactly where I live. And when the bus comes to my house, the next stop is the bottom of the cliff. And I told them, don't go past my house. Just come up to the door and then reverse away. And they're very good at that. You see, buses do what you tell them to do. It's a bit like the post office in the old days. In the post office in the old days, look at that old post office from the 1930s. You used to walk in there and you used to say, I want a 3-penny stamp. And if they didn't have one, they'd make it for you on the spot. They'd cut it out and they'd put the gum on and they'd draw a little drawing on the front. The buses need to be more like Uffigan Fished in the old days. And people have a problem and they're always calling out for help. You see, that's the thing. The bus goes past and people are like, hey, you, busman, stop. I want to get on the bus. But they should be more respectful and they should just say, if the bus wants to stop for me because it likes the look of me, then you stop, it will. Rather than calling out all the time. The last time I owned a car was in 1952, and now 'tis a couch. I've got it in my living room, and I don't use the couch anymore. I don't use the car except as a couch. And I don't have a television either. It looks like I'm sitting facing the telly there. But actually, all I'm doing is looking at a plant up against the wall. I'm watching the ivy grow up the wall. That's the way I do it. That's a Morris Minor now, 1952, cream-coloured. That was the original cream colour. They didn't have paint back in those days. You had to make your own paint from eggs. And that's what I did. When I painted that car, I mixed up the paint, the cream colour. I made it myself from raw eggs that I got from my own chickens. And when it wasn't right, you'd pluck the feathers out of the chickens and you'd put it into the paint and you'd blend it all up and you'd use it to paint everything. That's why I'm saying now that we need to go back to the way things were in the old days. Old style post offices and old style buses. Give up your old cars now and everybody stay indoors until you need to go out at the end of every 2 weeks to get a bit of shopping. And then the bus driver will respect you, and everything will be like it was in the old days, better than it is today. There you are now. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, especially for typing the reactions into the chat window. That's fabulous. It means a lot to us, genuinely, because otherwise we'd be like, God, what if they think it's shit? Okay. Our next game is called, thank you so much.
Thanks, Cormac.
Thank you, Sheila. Our next game is called Marriage Counselor. The way this works is that Annette is going to play a counselor who is counseling Michal and Mark, who have come for a session because their relationship isn't going well. Their marriage is actually on the rocks. Now, Annette is going to have to leave the room because the rules of this game Say, I know, sorry girl, they're already taken by each other. Burn. The rules in this game are that when Annette comes back in, she's going to have to guess what their problems are. So now I'm going to ask you for some suggestions. I want you to type into the chat window, please, something that one person could have a problem with the other one in a relationship. It could be very mundane, like they're always leaving this. That's genius. In love with the T.G. Carter weather girl. Fleas, that is also very good. Too much coughing, excellent. You've certainly all got the message about what we're looking for. Okay, that's enough. I think we've got enough. We've got way too much. I'm only looking for 2. So I'm going to take in love with a T.G. Carter weather girl. So Mark, that's your problem with Michal. And Michal, your problem with Mark is that he keeps scratching his teeth. Yes, so Dennis and Jason are the 2 lads who are in for counseling. Dennis's problem is that Jason keeps scratching his teeth. And Jason's problem is that Dennis is in love with a T.G. Carter weather girl. And for all our foreign contestants, our audience, that's the Irish channel. So, all right, this is marriage counselor.
Hi, back. How are you?
Hi.
Mwah.
We're good.
Interesting. Thanks.
It's good to see you. It's been 7 days, and I hope things have started to improve for you too. I mean, I've kind of lost my notes, so let's just go with the flow and see what comes up this week. What sort of rises to the surface. How Dennis? How have things progressed this week for you? Have there been any changes?
Well, it's been a tough grind, to be honest. I mean, it's been a long week. He's just grating on me this week, incredibly so. He's just.
Do you mean like sexually grating on you and grinding on you, or sort of emotionally grating and grinding on you? I mean, I'm open to hearing about both.
Well, it's generally him in general, not just sexually or emotionally. It's just his way of being, just the way he's so anxious and tight all the time and making noise and chewing and He needs to relax.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Right. And Jason, how do you feel about these sort of accusations of you being grinding and grating and anal, basically?
It's not true. It's not true. And we all can't relax the same way other people react. We can't look out the window and go, oh, that just reminds me of it straight away. Oh, it's not right. You should be taking pleasure in our relationship, not your relationship with others, okay? So you're
saying he should be more looking into the relationship rather than outside of the relationship.
He's looking outside the window. He's looking up in the sky for his relationship, and he's learning things now. Squailga, and just going, why do you need to know? You don't need to know these things.
Well, I mean, we're all learning in lockdown, Spanish, all these kind of things. People are, learning new things. No.
You can learn new things, that's fine, it's okay, but you don't have to record these things and watch them over and over again whenever you're feeling sad or anything like that, it's grand.
Yeah. And Dennis, if there was anything that you could sort of change about Jason's sort of behavior specifically, or that would maybe make him seem a bit more appealing to you. Anything?
He could go to the dentist, maybe, Annette. I mean, and maybe invest in a gum shield, because it's tough living with him when you hear the noise all day long. It's why I've turned to ag éisteacht agus ag fécant le gaeilge ar an telefís agus Ní Malum and Colleen, ní Lane Scammel sa spare and ish.
Sorry, Dennis, I'll have to stop you there. Ní Tigam.
Okay,
Ní
sorry.
Tigam.
I burst into fluency there in the
He did not burst into any fluency there. He burst into some makey-uppy stuff now just to make himself closer to her. And that's all that matters. Oh, he just wants to be a little bit closer. She doesn't know who you are, Dennis. I know you've sent fan mail. I know you've sent clothes suggestions several times. She doesn't know who you are. It's okay.
And Dennis,
I know who you are, Dennis. Come on. Come back to me. Come back.
Dennis, so how are you struggling with this sort of dual sexuality or bisexuality that you seem to be exhibiting? I mean, has that always been there, or is it just suddenly it's come up, so to speak?
Well, I like the way you phrase that, because that's what happens. He's driven me towards women. His behavior has turned me off all men. Like it's just that I feel like clattering him sometimes, you know, just like.
Oh, Dennis, if you feel like that, just look out the window, okay? Because we don't
Exactly.
advocate violence.
Look
I
up.
mean, we've discussed that.
It might be raining outside. It might be raining. It might make you happy. Do you see, the part of the problem is, you know, I have a few issues. You know, I get nervous. I have certain things that I do. But there's also issues in our relationship where Dennis decides that he would like to have, say, lettuce or something like that, or, you know, a few leaves in his diet, and all of a sudden, you know, you just can't look at him, and you're trying to suggest something to him, but he won't take it on board, and it's shocking. I'm not saying it's all his fault. I'm just saying that that's a couple of the times it happens like that.
Okay, so just let's leave that there, and say now going forward for the week, like Dennis, what could you work on of yourself for Jason for the week going forward? What could you change, or what could you kind of, you know, put a thumb on and sort of, I don't know, put a thumbtack in? That makes no sense, but sure, we'll go with it anyway.
Yes, thanks for acknowledging that, Annette. And I guess I could put in, you know, it's a tough question to answer because I love watching the weather. I think it's really important. I'm trying to learn a bit of Irish. Mm-hmm. But just when you look over at your loved one and they're at themselves in the weirdest way possible, even
right.
5 or 6 hours after eating, and it's like, leave it alone. Leave it alone. Your incisors are beautiful. What is it with you? What is it with you?
You think they're beautiful. You never said that.
Now we have a little breakthrough there now.
6 months ago, you told me that they look too long. You told me they were too long.
I was hoping you'd just take them out so you'd stop at yourself.
Jesus. Dennis, now, okay, we'll leave it at that for that with you, Dennis. Now, Jason, going forward for the week, what could you work on, you know, to sort of help Dennis sort of look at you rather than look at the woman in question, or looking out the window or such?
I think the main thing for me is to keep my hands busy.
Right.
My idle hands, if they're idle, they just go back to type. And I want to do things for Dennis. So, you know, maybe a few massages or something like that. That way we're both happy.
Yes, and like I have a couple of notes there as well, just to think about. So Dennis, for you, I think you could switch the channel and come off Tina G, as I think Tina G is bad for you. And there's obviously this female weather forecast woman that's leading you astray. It could be the movement of her hands. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure what she's doing that's encouraging this behavior in you. But I think you could switch the channel. Try channel 4. It's an English program, and they're all very ugly there. You won't be attracted to any of them. So try channel 4. And Jason, take out the dentures. Stop filing at the teeth. Stop at the teeth, grinding the teeth and filing them. And you know what I mean? Leave your teeth alone. They're absolutely beautiful. And if you don't, you'll have stubs. And nobody likes anybody with stubs. So I'll see you next week, lads. Is that okay? And it's 250 each, okay, for the session? And
no problem.
I hope that helped.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
You're welcome. Mwah, mwah.
Yay!
Did I come anyway close?
Genius. Fantastic. No, that was great. Yeah. You were almost bang on. He was scratching his teeth, which I suppose is the same as grinding your teeth. And the other one was falling in love with a TG Carr weather girl. So you were absolutely spot on. Well done. Detective Inspector Counselor Annette. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are just about to wrap it up. We're going to do one more game for you because we love you so much, and hopefully we'll do this again. So this last game is called Snatchy Street. We're going to go down to Snatchy Street, which is a bit like Sesame Street. There's a lot of puppets. Your puppet friends are here, and they're here to answer your questions. So imagine that you are kids watching a kids' TV show, and we want you to write in something that sounds like the kind of question that a kid might want to know the answer to. Now, they can be obvious ones, but they can be very obscure ones as well. And we've got loads of suggestions all the way through the show, and some of them have been very weird and wonderful. So feel free to make them weird and wonderful. Any question that a kid might ask. And myself and my friends, well, not me actually, my friend John. Hello. Oh, this is John Turtle. Hello, I'm John Turtle. I'm 160 years old. Oh, John is going to help us to answer some of these questions. So I think we've got enough questions now. So I'm going to ask some of my friends to join us, and we'll see. Oh, look, it's Junkie the Monkey and Bluey and Mossy. Oh, guys,
Here we are.
good to see you. Hello. I've got a couple of questions from the boys and girls. See if you can answer these ones. Number one, from Jane in Wicklow. Is there a cow in the moon? Oh, interesting, John. Who could answer that? What about Mossy? See if you can answer that.
All right there now, lads. How yous all doing out there on Snatchy Street? Now, as far as we know, there is no cow on the moon. But the conclusive evidence would indicate that there is something going on there. But I'm going to have to come back to you in a few months now. Give me some time. I'll come back and I'll have photographic evidence. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, what about you, Bluey?
Well, I know for a fact that there are several cows on the moon because I've been up there myself and they're having a great old time. Do you want to know why I know? Because the moon is made of cheese.
In the world you live in, maybe it is. And Junkie? We call him Junkie because he's a monkey with a jumper. Not because he's a real junkie, although maybe he is. Junkie, what do you say?
Ah, yeah. There's definitely cows on the moon. I tell you what, if you want to see the cow on the moon, you just go into the forest and you eat the little mushrooms that'll be growing in the ground. And I tell you what, you'll get a bird's eye view right up into the moon and you'll see them cows for hours. It's great back. I recommend it. Go into the forest, kids, eat the mushrooms on the ground, and you'll be happy up there on the moon with the cows jumping over. You know what I mean?
Indeed, that's what got me through the slim years of the 1960s and 70s. And so let's have another question from one of the boys and girls. Let's see. How do you wash your armpits? Oh, a personal hygiene question. Of course, that's very topical now. What about you, Bluey? How do you wash your armpits?
Well, in my situation, it's quite hard. So, I would get a friend to help you wash the armpits. However, they have to stay 2 meters away. So, just have to get a giant hose and just spray.
It's always good to have friends around, especially when you're in the shower. What about you, Junkie?
Fuck that. Don't be washing your armpits. Why would you want to be clean? Who needs to be clean? I think there's a water ban at the moment with the hose ban. You don't want to be washing those armpits. And I tell you what, after about 3 to 6 weeks, you won't smell them yourself, so why should you be bothered? Fuck anyone else who can smell them. It's their own problem. So don't bother washing them armpits. And don't be shaving them either. Not me.
Don't listen to him, kids. What about you, Mossy?
Well, now, I think it's very important to wash under your armpits because you never know when you could get taken out. And no one wants to be found with smelly armpits. No one.
I do.
You don't. No, you don't want to be found with smelly armpits, especially if you're long dead. Wait, I think we might just have time for one more question. Oh, this is a good one. Why does Britain claim ownership over the north of Ireland? Oh dear. I think I know one person who feels very strongly about this one. Mossy, that's a real question from the boys and girls.
Who fucking wrote that what?
It's a genuine question.
Genuine question, my fucking hole. Them bastards. And I shouldn't be cursing on children's television. But it doesn't belong to the British. It's Ireland. 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 Do you hear me? Children.
It's not, all right, it's not a black and white issue, Mossy. It could be a blue issue. Isn't that right, Bluey?
Yes, it could be. I don't think that anybody owns anybody else. I think we're all free. And when we all are free, then we all can be friends.
Friends, of course. And I'll leave the final word to you, Junkie.
The actual truth is, right, that Dublin owns Northern Ireland. You know what I mean? It's actually part of Dublin, but nobody knows except the Dubliners. So, yeah, that's the beginning and end of it. We own it. Yeah, truth.
I think that's the most controversial thing I've heard all
Up
night.
the doves.
Boys and girls, we'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye. Thanks, John. Take your time. Oh, John Turtle. When he's ringing that bell, he's like the guy from Breaking Bad. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. That's Snatchy Street, and that is all we've got time for. We have enjoyed ourselves very much tonight, and we hope you have too. Feel free to send us your feedback on Facebook and other social media and stuff like that. Write comments about us and what have you, and we'll come back and do it again. It's been good crack, and also you have been an absolutely fabulous audience.
Thank you so much.
And I know I genuinely mean that because we can't see you, but we're getting your feedback already during the show, and that is just what we need. So we look forward to having you guys and more like you at the next show. Thank you very much. Have a good week.
Thanks
and
very
we'll
much.
talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Ba-dum-bum, ba-bum-bum, ba-dum.